Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aisya Alfianur Nitya Prasanti with a three-digit names 140 from Class E. Today, I'm going to review and analyze a brilliant Netflix movie titled Enola Holmes 2. In this video, I will break down the characters, the storyline, the moral messages, and also share my personal favorite scenes from the movie. So, let's get started. Okay, first, let's talk about the characters. I will analyze both their physiology, meaning their physical traits, and their psychology, meaning their mindset and behavior. The main character is, of course, Enola Holmes, played brilliantly by Millie Bobby Brown. Physiologically, she is a young, energetic Victorian girl who refuses to wear restrictive corsets. She is highly agile and trained in martial arts like jiu-jitsu. Psychologically, Enola is incredibly intelligent and fiercely independent. However, the struggle with feeling lonely and living under the shadow of her famous brother. Throughout the movie, she grows from thinking, I have to do everything alone, to realizing the importance of teamwork. Next is her brother, Sherlock Holmes, played by Henry Cavill. Physiologically, he is a tall, physically imposing gentleman with sharp eyes that are always analyzing his surroundings. Psychologically, Sherlock is intensely logical but socially isolated. In this movie, we see his character development as he learns to show a softer side and care for her little sister. Then we have Lord Tewkesbury, played by Louis Partridge. He is a handsome and graceful young aristocrat. Psychologically, he is compassionate and modern-minded. Unlike other Victorian men who look down on women, he deeply respects Enola's independence. Finally, there is Sarah Chapman, played by Hannah Dodd. She is a beautiful young woman with red hair who works in a match factory but is capable of disguising herself elegantly as a high society lady. Psychologically, she is brave, selfless, and resilient. She is willing to risk her life to save her fellow workers. Now, let's talk about the antagonists and other key figures who drive the mystery of this movie. First, we have William Leon, played by Gabriel Turney. Physiology, he is a well-dressed, handsome young man. As the son of the factory owner, he has the polished look of high society. His psychology, initially he appears to be just another privileged, careless rich son. However, psychologically he possesses a strong hidden conscience. He secretly works with Sarah Chapman to expose his own father's corrupt company because he cannot stand seeing the Mitchkers die. Next, Superintendent Grail, played by David Teldis. Physiology, he is a sinister, older police officer who always carries a gun and walks with an intimidating, aggressive presence. He has a cold, ruthless look on his face. Psychology, Grail is corrupt, brutal, and obsessed with power. He uses his position in law enforcement not to protect people but to serve the wealthy and cover up their crimes. He is the main physical threat to Enola throughout the investigation. Then we have Lord Carlos Melter, played by Tim McMahon. Physiology, a wealthy, elderly aristocrat who holds a high position in the government. He speaks with an arrogant tone and carries himself with immense privilege. Psychology, McLinter is the embodiment of corporate greed and political corruption. He's cold-hearted and completely unbothered by the deeds of the prefecture girls. His only motivation is protecting his wealth, his reputation, and the financial profits of the match factory. And finally, Mira Troy, played by Sharon Duncan Brewster. Physiology, she appears as a quiet, unassuming, and highly professional secretary working in the government office. She wears very modest formal clothing, and psychology is the biggest twist of the movie. Under her quiet persona, she's actually Moriarty, a brilliant psychopathic criminal mastermind. She is highly resentful of how society underestimates her because she's a woman. So she uses her genius intellect to orchestrate complex financial blackmail schemes just to prove she is smarter than everyone else, including Sherlock. Moving on to the plot, let's break down the story from the beginning, the middle, to the end. In the beginning, the story starts with Enola opening her own detective agency, but because she is a young woman, no one takes her seriously, just as she is about to give up. A poor young girl named Bishi hires her to find her missing older sister, Sarah Chapman. Enola takes the case and investigates the match factory where Sarah worked. In the middle of the story, things get very intense. Enola discovers that the factory workers are dying from a typhus disease, which is actually a cover up. At the same time, Sherlock is struggling with a complex blackmail case. They soon realize their cases are connected. Enola is even framed for murder by a corrupt police officer and thrown into prison, but she gets rescued by her mother in a spectacular action sequence. Towards the ending, Enola, Sherlock, and Tewkesbury discover the dark truth. The factory owners switch to cheap, toxic white phosphorus to maximize profits, and it was killing the girls. Sarah Chapman stole the evidence to expose them. After defeating the bad guys, Sarah and Enola convince the factory workers to walk out and strike. In the end, Enola successfully established herself as a truly independent detective. Now, what is the moral messages of this movie? There are three main messages that I captured. Number one, the power of unity. The movie strongly highlights that we don't have to fight our battles alone. As Enola's mother said, you will do very well on your own, Enola. But with others, you could be magnificent. Number two, woman empowerment. The film breaks the gender stereotypes of the Victorian era. It shows that women are not weak. Women can be brilliant detectives, brave fighters, and leaders of a revolution. Number three, truth and justice above profit. The core conflict teaches us that human lives are always more valuable than greed and corporate profit. It criticizes those who sacrifice innocent people just to make more money. Finally, I want to share my favorite scenes from the movie, specifically the moments that showcase the brilliant investigative skills of the Holmes siblings. Number one is when Enola sneaking into the matchmaker's ball and dancing with Lord Tewkesbury. In the middle of the film, Enola's investigation leads her to a high society ball to find William Lyne, the son of the factory owner. Since she doesn't know how to behave like a proper lady, she gets overwhelmed. Lord Tewkesbury comes to her rescue, takes her to a secluded room, and teaches her how to dance while secretly exchanging clues about the case. They share a very romantic and witty moment together. And the reason this is one of my favorite scenes because it perfectly balances the movie's mystery with romance and comedy. The chemistry between Millie Bobby Brown as Enola and Louis Partridge as Tewkesbury is spectacular. It shows that despite being a fierce and independent woman, Enola can still experience love and vulnerability. Tewkesbury proves to be a supportively who respects Enola's intelligence. My second favorite scene is when Sherlock Holmes finally realized that his blackmail case is connected to Enola's missing person case. Okay, my second favorite is when Sherlock realized his blackmail case is connected to Enola's missing person case. It captures his genius. By re-evaluating his evidence and looking at the bigger picture, he understands that government corruption and the factory deaths are one crime. It shows that even a legend needs to look at things from a new perspective to reach the truth. And the reason this scene is so impactful is that it perfectly illustrates the phrase two heads are better than one. Both Sherlock and Enola were stuck at a dead end because they were looking at the case from different angles. Sherlock was looking at the financial numbers, yeah, while Enola was looking at the human cause. When they combined their findings, the truth became clear. It teaches us that even the most brilliant minds need a different perspective to see the whole picture. Number three, my favorite scene is when the prison break and reunion Enola with her mom, Eudoria. After being framed for a murder by the corrupt superintendent Grail, Enola is locked up in a high-security prison. In a thrilling turn of events, her eccentric and rebellious mother, Idoria, along with the martial arts expert idiot, bomb the prison gates and break Enola out. They engage in a fast-paced, comedic, and action-packed escape through the streets of London. And the reason is this scene is incredibly empowering and entertaining. It showcases the holy trinity of strong women in the film. The dynamic between Enola and her mother is heartwarming, especially when Idoria reminds Enola that while it is good to be independent, having people to rely on makes her magnificent. The action choreography mixed with humor makes this scene unforgettable. Okay, the last my favorite scene is when my absolute favorite scene is at the end of the movie when Sarah Chapman, Enola, and Missy stand in front of all the factory workers and convince them to walk out. At the very end of the movie, after exposing that the factory owners used cheap, toxic white phosphorus that killed dozens of workers, blaming it on TB's disease, Sarah Chapman and Busy return to factory. Sarah briefly gives a speech and encourages all the female workers to drop their tools and walk out. They march out of the factory together, creating history. The reason I love this scene is because it is deeply empowering. It shows the main message of the movie. When oppressed people unite and stamp their feet together, they have the power to stop a corrupt system. I also highly appreciate Millie Bobby Brown's acting in this scene. Her facial expressions perfectly capture the emotion of the moment. And what makes it even more amazing is that this scene is based on a real historical event in 1888. It elevates the film from a simple detective story to an inspiring tribute to women's rights and labor movements. It shows that real justice is achieved through solidarity and standing up against corporate greed. Okay, we're moving to closing. In conclusion, Enola Holmes 2 is not just a mystery movie, but a story about growing up, finding your allies, and standing up for what is right. I highly recommend it. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and for watching this video. Have a great day.